Welcome into Outkick the show. I'm your fearless leader, Clay Travis, and we're early today because it's holiday season, and I got to go catch a flight with my family. Pray for me to head down to Florida for the rest of the week. I'll do the shows as time allows and as stories dictate. I'll be on for the radio show tomorrow morning, then I'm out on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But right off the gun here, we have so much to talk about. I have to hit it early. I hope you guys are having a spectacular Monday morning. Let's dive right into all of the stories that are going on. First of all, I'm going to tell you about the Chip Kelly decision. Then I'm going to get into what's going on at Tennessee, Arkansas, other potential job openings. Going to talk about A&M, going to talk about UCLA, going to talk about Jimbo Fisher and Gus Malzahn. Marshawn Lynch not standing for the national anthem. Jameis investigated for yet another sexual assault. And Baker Mayfield with a crotch grab that is the definition of white privilege, according to typical left-wing sports media. All right, boys and girls, let's start off right here. I hope that you listen to me. I hope that you'll listen to me and you put every spare dollar you had on Missouri to cover against Vanderbilt. I gave the biggest guarantee of my gambling career. The biggest guarantee of my gambling career was that Missouri was going to cover with ease against Vanderbilt. What was the score at halftime? I do believe 35-0. I told you to put your kids' college funds on it. I stepped it up from the blood bank guarantee. I said this was an unprecedented opportunity that Mizzou was going to blow out Vanderbilt. And you know what? I was right. And hopefully all of you made the money because you know who loves you? Santa Clay. Santa Clay loves you. Got a gift for you as well. All these awesome shirts, such as the ones that I wear on this show, they're all 20% off if you go to Outkick right now and put in the code word boobs. Boobs, 20% off all our gear, our VIP subscriptions, everything. You go to Outkick right now, you go into our gear, you go into everything else. Use the code word boobs. That's BOOBS, as Brooke Baldwin at CNN so memorably told us, and you will get 20% off of everything. Okay, lots to get to. Outkick the show presented by OddsShark. Go to OddsShark for all your gambling and informational related needs. Also, I just sent out the tweet. If you're not following me on Twitter, I'm at Clay Travis. Go remedy that situation right now. We are going to have an outstanding contest going on for the next 2 weeks, next 10 days and change. Go to my website. I'm about to put up the link, or you can go to my Twitter feed and click straight through. We've had a great crew going around to every tailgate as a part of the SEC tailgate season this year. And now we are allowing you guys to vote. Vote on the 14 schools, the one that you think has the best tailgate environment, and the winning school gets an Outkick party where I come and we throw an awesome party on the campus. So wherever you are, we'll find a bar. We'll come to your school. If you go vote right now, wherever it is, I'll publicize it. We're going to open up a bar tab. It'll be an awesome party. The 14 best experiences on a college football tailgate. You'll be glad that you did it. Okay. Chip Kelly. What is he going to do? Again, go vote on that. That's The Home Loan Expert. My friends at The Home Loan Expert. It's the holiday season. I know Santa Clay just came through. If you trust me at all, go to thehomeloanexpert.com. Tell them Clay Travis sent you. They'll get you a rate. Right now, your rate's probably in the 4s or 5s. They can get you a rate in the 2. You'll be glad that you did it. Get there today, thehomeloanexpert.com. If you tell them Clay Travis and Outkick sent you, I'll give you a free year's full VIP when you complete your mortgage. Okay, let's dive right in. By the way, if I happen to look over and your comments look like the comments that a pussy would make, you're going to get blocked. I don't really read very much of the comments because I'm so busy doing the show. But if I look over and I see it, you're going to be dead. All right, here are the question. If you are Chip Kelly, and I appreciate everybody out there saying Chip Kelly is going to be announced tomorrow. Initially, it was today. Here's what I know. If you go out with 6 other guys to New Hampshire to make the case that Chip Kelly needs to come join you, and Chip Kelly doesn't come on that plane back with you, it's not done. Okay, Bovada just put out odds, basically 50-50, that he's going to be at UCLA. 20,000 of you voted in my poll. Which one would you go to? Which one makes the most sense? I'm going to make a case for both. I'm going to pretend that I am Chip Kelly's agent right now. I'm going to make the case about why you pick UCLA and why you pick Florida. Okay, let's start here. This is the 50-50 decision that Chip Kelly faces right now. Here is my thought process. If you go to Florida, you have the best chance to win a national championship. Chip Kelly, why do you want to go back and coach in college football? You've won the Pac-12 multiple times. You've played for the title already. Why do you want to go to a place that doesn't give you the best opportunity to win a championship? You're connected to Nike. You have a great relationship with Phil Knight. He can make Florida the SEC's version of Oregon. He can make Florida Oregon East. You stay in Florida. You have abundant talent. You do what Urban Meyer did. You do what Steve Spurrier did. You would win a national championship at Florida. If one day you want to go back to the NFL because you like coaching in the NFL better, Florida gives you the best route to win a national championship, get hot again, and go back into the NFL. That's true. That's truth. God, I kill somebody. That's the truth. That's the truth if you don't necessarily know. You also can save a lot of money. You don't have to make as much money in Florida. I hate to be after taxes guy, but Florida has no state income tax. They have incredible affordable homes, and you could probably make $7 million a year or $6 million a year in Gainesville, and it is the equivalent of making about $10 million a year in LA. So if you want to win a championship, if you want an opportunity to get back to the NFL, and if you want a direct connection to Nike to continue to solidify your relationship with Phil Knight, Florida is the play. I don't think there's any doubt that it makes total sense and that you can make that move. Now, here's the other challenge. Florida, and I talked about this some on the show, at an SEC school, you have to be the Pope of the state. You have to be the Pope of the state. And I'm telling you right now, if you are not willing to be the Pope of the state, then it's not going to be that good of a fit, and you have to win at such an unbelievably high level in order to avoid all of the obligations from that situation. So that to me is the biggest challenge with Florida. You can't go there unless you're okay with being a massive, huge, basically Pope of the state. I'm not sure if Chip Kelly wants to do that. I told this story. When Nick Saban took over Alabama, they didn't have any idea what to expect because most of the previous Alabama coaches had been Southern good old boy glad handlers. They would show up, they would shake hands, it would be a whiskey fest, they would sit back, they would drink, and everybody loved it. One of the first events Nick Saban did with the boosters, he got on the airplane, he sat down on the airplane, all the boosters are there, eager to talk with Nick Saban, to hear his stories. Saban puts on his headset and starts watching film. No interest in interacting with the guys at all. No interest in drinking with them. He's about football, and that's it. And he didn't want to waste the time that he was on the jet when he could be making his team better by watching practice. That is a pretty fascinating Nick Saban story. I get the sense Chip Kelly's a little bit like that. You have to win so much in order to be able to do that. That's what Chip Kelly would be like at Florida. Nick Saban said, to hell with it. I'm not running around and wasting my time here. What matters at Alabama is winning championships. So that's my case for Florida. It's easier to win a championship. Here's my case for LA. If you go to UCLA, you can have a normal life. You can focus on football because, frankly, UCLA doesn't care as much about football as they do in Florida. You will be the 798th most famous person, if that, in LA. You can go out to restaurants wherever you want to go. You can live wherever you want to go. You can walk around. People will give you your space. You already know that you won at Oregon. UCLA is better than Oregon. Right now, Clay Helton is at USC. You can dominate at UCLA because Clay Helton is not going to dominate at USC. You have a fertile recruiting region. You have a great built-in rivalry, and you have the ability to probably coach at UCLA for a long time without having to compete in the dog-eat-dog SEC. Now, here are the negatives. Under Armour instead of Nike. You got to build a new relationship with Under Armour and go against your guy, Phil Knight. It's a lot harder to win a national championship at UCLA. There's a reason why people would not be able to do that. It's not a bad job, but it's not a job where you easily win a national championship. If you want to get back to the NFL, it's a harder route to get back to the NFL from UCLA than it is from the University of Florida. Cost of living is more substantial. There are a lot of different issues. I'm going to have to block this motherfucker. Uniforms really matter? The fuck? Yeah, they really fucking matter. Recruits are stupid. They get motivated by dumb things, such as women and alcohol. That still works on men my age. Uniforms wasn't work on men my age either, but it definitely works on 15, 16, and 17-year-old boys. So don't be fucking stupid. I swear to God, I'm going to start blocking people for being so stupid. So, the truth of the matter is this. If I were advising Chip Kelly, I would tell him to take the Florida job. I think it's easier to win a championship there. I think he'll win at a higher level. And I think he'll come back more quickly because you know Josh Rosen is going pro and the UCLA talent is not stocked off that well. Okay? Somebody says cost of living. Cost of living matters. Okay? When I would go out to LA, they would take over half of every paycheck from me. You pay a 13.3% state income tax. I'm going to be tax guy here. 13.3% state income tax. In Tennessee, I pay no taxes at all state income. Okay? I live in a multi-million-dollar mansion. My exact house, if you put it in Manhattan Beach, which is a great place where you'd probably want to live if you were in LA, this house would cost $8 or $9 million, maybe more. I got it for a couple of million here in Nashville. That's the truth. My house right now, probably worth a couple of million in Nashville. It'd be an $8 or $9 million house in LA. That's the truth. So your lifestyle changes substantially even if you make a lot of money. I make a lot of money. I just be a guy in LA because there's a lot of guys who make a lot of money, and a lot of that money would never get to me because it gets taxed before it gets to me. That's the truth. So I think that matters. If I were giving him advice and I was his agent, I would say, Chip, take Florida. If you think you can handle the excruciating amount of attention that you're going to get at Florida as opposed to UCLA. If you want to slide into the background and you don't want to have a lot of people paying attention to you and you want to have a normal life and you just want to focus on X's and O's and be a football coach, then UCLA is where you go. So that is my analysis. I do think, however, that's a bad sign for Florida that Chip Kelly hasn't been announced yet and that he wasn't on that plane coming back with Scott Strickland and the boosters. Okay, let's talk about the other things I'm hearing. Spent the weekend on the phone talking to a lot of different people in the universe of college football. Want to hit two really juicy stories, I think. One, I'm told Kevin Sumlin is finished at Texas A&M. That it doesn't even matter what happens for him at LSU. That relationship is over. I've been thinking if he got to 8-4, that would save his job. I'm told that's not the case, that Kevin Sumlin is done at A&M. I don't think it makes sense. I think that Kevin Sumlin has done a good job at A&M, but I think that he is done there. It doesn't matter what happens in the final game of the season against LSU. I am told that Kevin Sumlin is going to have options in Big 5 conference football. One of them would be UCLA if it were possible that UCLA doesn't get Chip Kelly. So I think that there is a possibility that could end up happening, that Kevin Sumlin could leave for UCLA. I think that's possibly as well. And on top of that, I think that there is a very good possibility that A&M is going to hire Jimbo Fisher. Now, everybody always says our coach is never leaving. I'm told this is largely personal. This is largely personal about the relationship that that Jimbo Fisher had, the divorce, everything that surrounded his situation in Tallahassee. He just wants a new start. He doesn't want to be in the same town as his ex-wife. It's small in Tallahassee. It's broken, the situation. So, if there is any sense at all, then it makes no sense. I'm telling you, Jimbo is going to A&M. And in talking to people who are familiar with his contract, that contract is often said to have a $40 million buyout. That's not true. It's not a mutual contract buyout. Jimbo Fisher is owed $40 million if they have to buy him out. In other words, if Florida State was finished with Jimbo Fisher, they would argue they would have to pay him $40 million. It's not true that there's a $40 million buyout if Jimbo decides to leave, and I'm told there's a very good chance that he is going to leave. So keep that in mind. On top of that, I am told that if Auburn loses to Alabama this weekend in the Iron Bowl, that Gus Malzahn is very seriously considering taking the Arkansas job. I am serious here that I think it is very likely that Arkansas is going to hire Gus Malzahn. Now, some of you will say, oh, Auburn's a better job. I don't disagree. But Gus Malzahn is from Springdale. He feels as if Auburn has not supported him, that he's been perpetually under fire, that he can go to Springdale, Arkansas. He's already coached at Arkansas State and knows he can win there. His family will be happier. Arkansas fans will be, after the Brett Bielema era, ecstatic if he can get them to 8 or 9 wins a year, which is what Auburn wants to fire him for doing. And he believes he can build a winner at Arkansas. I'm telling you, this is a really big deal. The other thing I was told, and both those stories tie in with it, people who I talked to involved in this situation say that they believe more coaches are going to move from sitting jobs to other jobs in Big Five conferences than we've ever seen before. In other words, I want you to follow me along here. Malzahn to Arkansas, potentially Sumlin to UCLA, potentially Jimbo to A&M. There are going to be more open jobs and people moving. Maybe Dan Mullen to Tennessee. All of this is going to happen. Okay? Several other things that I think are interesting here. I still think John Gruden is in play at Tennessee. I think Tennessee has tapped it down a little bit. I think what's really going on is everybody's waiting to see what Florida is going to do and see if Chip Kelly's going to come off the board and see what jobs are going to be available there. John Gruden has an opportunity at Tennessee. I still think he's going to take it. I think Tennessee is going to announce John Gruden as their next coach. People say that I'm crazy. We'll see what ends up happening there. The groomers are real. If you saw the Calhoun story, it was like peak groomer level. John Gruden reportedly eating with Peyton Manning before the LSU game. It actually got tweeted out. It was everywhere. Calhoun's confirmed it. I retweeted it. And then it comes out that John Gruden wasn't actually there. I think there is a good chance that John Gruden is still going to be named the coach at Tennessee. I would put it at more likely than not. Now, the reason why I say more likely than not is because you never know, right? Here's another little tidbit, more groomer. Dale Jones has been contacted. Dale Jones, a former coach, a current coach at App State, former coach at the university, former player at the University of Tennessee. Dale Jones has been contacted by John Gruden about being on his staff. Dale Jones put up a pretty funny Instagram post, said he was headed to Knoxville and he had just run 10.3 miles. Why did he say he had just run 10.3 miles? Because that's the report about how much Tennessee's going to be playing John Gruden. That's pretty funny. They are definitely playing it up and having an unbelievable time there. If Tennessee does not hire John Gruden, I believe they will hire Dan Mullen. But there could be some complexities that arise. If Auburn comes open and FSU comes open, there are all sorts of other possibilities and permutations that could come into play. So I think there is a fascinating situation out there where all these jobs are open and frankly, nobody has any idea what's going on. Okay, questions from you guys about the current coaching situation. I've already talked about it a great deal. What questions do you guys have about the current coaching situation on both Facebook and on Periscope? Haven't heard a lot about Chris Peterson at Washington. More likely than not, I think more likely than not that Gus will go to Arkansas if they lose that game against Alabama. The challenging thing on the coaching search is this, and I'm not trying to dodge questions about percentages. It's one guy's mind, right? If you have ever had a decision to make in your life about what job you're going to take, and I used as an example my starting a morning show with Fox Sports Radio, For 5 or 6 days as I made that decision about what I wanted to do, my suggestion of what I was going to do swung multiple directions. One day was yes, one day was no. Add in the complexity of families and everything else, and I guarantee you that a lot of these coaches are going back and forth with what exactly they want to do. So I think that's at play here. So giving a direct percentages, I think it's more likely than not that Jimbo Fisher is going to be at A&M. I think it's more likely than not that Gus Malzahn is going to Arkansas, and I think it's more likely than not that John Gruden is going to be the next coach at Tennessee. But I don't know what that means. If I were gambling, would I feel comfortable that I'm going to hit a 3 parlay there? No, there are other bets I would like better than saying, oh, I feel comfortable about all 3 of these jobs ending up exactly as I predicted it. What would FSU do if Jimbo left? Great question. I think FSU is an incredible job. I think you go after big, heavy hitters. I call James Franklin if I'm FSU. I call Bobby Petrino, frankly. I think Petrino's been overlooked a little bit because he made a bad defensive coordinator hire. If you could steal away a top coach from inside your own division in the ACC, I think that would make a lot of sense. Look, I'm telling you this. What I don't want to hear is people saying a coach is not going anywhere. All right? Don't be dumb. One of the most naive things that a fan base says is our coach loves it here, he would never leave. James Franklin would leave for the right opportunity. He would. I'm just telling you, okay? You can be a Penn State, bury your head in the wool perspective, and that is not going to bother me. I'm telling you that he would leave for the right opportunity. Don't know exactly what that opportunity is. Don't know exactly how much money there would have to be at stake, but he would leave Penn State for the right opportunity. Guys, these are coaches. They move all the time. Coaches have helicopter dicks, all right? A lot of you guys have mosquito dicks. You would never leave your job. Like I said, you'd be happy with your $40,000 a year job and your Nissan Sentra payment. That's not how coaches roll. Coaches have helicopter dicks. They make decisions on the spur of the moment to leave. Doesn't mean it's an easy decision, but it's a job where you're constantly shifting your location. So don't sit around out here and argue that nobody else is going to leave. No idea what Auburn would do. That's what I'm saying. Everything is up in arms. Everything, I think this offseason is going to be the wildest offseason we've ever seen in coaching. Based on the people that I'm talking to who I trust, this is going to be an absolute bedlam of a coaching offseason. Whoever's asking about Les Miles may end up getting a job, but it's not going to be a great job. There's a general consensus that he's in his 60s. He did not win at a high level at LSU at the end. And if he couldn't win with LSU's athletes and LSU's players, why would you give him the keys to your program right now? That's the general consensus out there. He's in his 60s, okay? So where he goes, like there are a couple people out there like Les Miles, a great coach. No, the belief is with all the incredible talent he had at LSU, he is past his prime. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. Additional questions? Any additional questions? All that stuff. Okay, all this different stuff, and there's lots out there. Mike Gundy is an intriguing idea, but I don't think he's going to leave because I think T. Boone Pickens has different money. Okay, let's get to a couple of additional things before the show is done, before I have to go hop this flight to Florida. It's why I'm on early today. Marshawn Lynch, national anthem. Let me say this about Marshawn Lynch. I think it's indefensible. There's a rule in American politics where basically it is this. When you are out of the country, you don't criticize your country. Marshawn Lynch not standing for the national anthem is, to me, indefensible on virtually every level when he's in Mexico. And then on top of it, standing for the Mexican national anthem, the guy must have the IQ of a flea. If you're going to be not standing for the national anthem because you're protesting treatment of minorities in America, lack of human rights, lack of equality, Mexico is one of the least of all of the democracies out there. Mexico is one of the least welcoming of human rights, freedom of press, freedom of speech. They murder journalists. The cartels, the drug cartels, chop off heads like crazy. This, to me, was a bridge too far. And I said this on my radio show, and I'll reiterate it now. If Marshawn Lynch played for me and I owned the Oakland Raiders, I would release him. I would say, you're gone, Marshawn. Something is fundamentally broken in the Oakland Raiders locker room. I don't think Marshawn Lynch is helping him. He's averaging 4 yards a carry. You're 10 games through the season, and he's rushed for 397 yards. Send a message that you are not going to allow Marshawn Lynch to continue to dictate a negative culture in your locker room. Just release him. He's 31 years old. He hasn't made a substantial difference for your team. He's averaging 4 yards a carry. He's got 4 touchdowns, and he's got less than 400 yards rushing on the season. Let him go. Let him go. Nothing. His problems exceed his talents. It's time for him to go. Jameis Winston has been charged potentially with another violation of a woman's consent. There's a report that Jameis Winston has groped a Uber driver. Now, I don't know what level dumb Jameis Winston is, but this is to me beyond, if you're an NFL quarterback and you are Jameis Winston and you have narrowly avoided being charged with rape at FSU and all of the mess that existed there, I wouldn't have sex with another girl without her on video signing and fingerprinting a consent form. I would be so terrified to have sex with anybody if I truly didn't think I did anything wrong in that rape investigation. There's no way that I would ever be randomly groping girls. I wouldn't do that now. I've never randomly groped a girl in my life. I certainly wouldn't do it in an Uber if I were Jameis Winston and I was already having to deal with the ridiculousness of almost getting charged with rape. I would be so crystal clear in my behavior. If you got away with it once, and I think he did, that's why I've never been a Jameis Winston fan. I don't understand how in the world he could have the thought process to do it again. And people tell me that's how sexual predators are. They don't make the decision. They're not like you and me. They don't make rational decisions. They are violent perpetrators of sexual assault, and they will do it again and again and again. And I think that's what Jameis Winston is. I think he's indefensible. I think he did it. I don't think this girl is making it up in the Uber car, just like I don't think the girl made it up at Florida State. I have read all the evidence in both cases, and I believe the accuser. Now, look, there's other cases where I haven't. I told you guys before, I think Ezekiel Elliott didn't do anything wrong. I think the evidence doesn't support Ezekiel Elliott being suspended for 6 games. So I do something crazy. I actually look at the evidence before I make a decision. I don't assume a woman's telling the truth because she's a woman. I don't assume a guy's telling the truth because he's a guy. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, that Jameis Winston could find himself being investigated for another instance of sexual assault, particularly in the climate in which we live now, and also given the fact that he's already being through the ringer on this situation before. It's just dumb on a different kind of level. We know that Uber banned him from ever riding in their cars again. I would be humiliated if I were a multimillionaire and I was banned from ever riding an Uber. Here's the other question. Why doesn't Jameis Winston have a private driver when he goes out? Why does he need an Uber? If you were a multi-million-dollar quarterback, wouldn't you just have a black car with you at all times? I mean, why would you not have an Escalade that just parks, you pay a couple $100 for the night, whenever you want to go out with your friends, have your own Escalade, have your own limo, whatever you want, just driving around and picking you up all the time? It doesn't make any sense at all. Doesn't make any sense. Finally, this is, to me, a sign of how ridiculous the world has become. Baker Mayfield grabbed his crotch, and after he scored to go up 28-3 against Kansas, he was upset at Kansas because Kansas players refused to shake his hand before the game and because they were cheap-shotting him during the game. So, on the sideline, he grabbed his dick in their direction. I wrote on my column Sunday, who will be the first sports media to argue that Baker Mayfield has white dick grab privilege? I knew it would happen. I knew somebody out there would go a time to kill on us and say, what if a black guy had grabbed his dick instead of Baker Mayfield grabbing his dick? What would be the reaction then? And I'm here to tell you this, the exact same. I would feel the exact same about Baker Mayfield grabbing his dick as I would if Lamar Jackson did it. Okay? Zero difference. In that I totally get why you're fired up. Probably shouldn't do it, but I think it's kind of funny. I think a good dick grab in direction to somebody you don't like, well-executed insult. I like the dick grab more than the bird, all right? You tell me the choice. You have to go, hey, you want to grab your dick in the direction of somebody you don't like, or you want to give them the bird. To me, they're both equally intentional, and I think the dick grab is funnier. I think a nice dick grab is funnier than a bird, personally, all right? Oh my God, what if a black guy did this? Oh my God, how would the world even continue? Oh, look at Clay Travis. He's got middle finger white privilege. Shut up. If you are so obsessed with race that the first thing you think when Baker Mayfield grabs his dick in the direction of the Kansas football team is what if a black guy grabbed his dick too, you are the racist. You are the racist. That's the way racists think. If you see somebody do something and you immediately think, what if a black guy had done that instead? What if a white guy had done that instead? You are so obsessed that you see race everywhere. My God, it drives me crazy to think about. When I see Baker Mayfield do something, I got a crazy idea for you. I think, oh, that's totally something I would see Baker Mayfield doing, grabbing his dick, right? After he's already planted the flag, that's 1,000,000,000% something that I see Baker Mayfield doing. And guess what? I don't think his whiteness has anything to do with Baker Mayfield making that decision. I think if Baker Mayfield were a black guy, he would play the exact same way. I don't think his race factors in at all. The Louisville player jerked off this weekend. I don't think that Louisville player jerked off like that and then did the spooge, which is pretty funny. I don't think he did that because he's a black guy. I think he did it because he has the personality to be the kind of guy who's on the football field that does the jerk off motion. Okay? I have a crazy mindset, I know. I don't judge people based on their race or their gender or their sexual orientation or anything else. I judge them based on them. Am I the kind of guy who playing in a football game would grab my dick towards the opposing sideline if I thought they were being assholes? What do you guys think? Do you think Clay Travis would grab his dick towards the opposing sideline if he thought the opposing team was being assholes? What do you guys think? Vote, yes or no. What do you think? I'd love to hear what your reaction is. Okay, a lot of yeses, right? You're right, I would. That's the kind of guy I would be, right? It doesn't have anything to do with me being white. It wouldn't have anything to do with me being black. It wouldn't have anything to do with me being Asian. It would have to do with me being me. And you shouldn't then judge me in light of my whiteness or in light of my blackness or in light of my Asianness or in light of my Hispanicness, because that is being racist. Then you are using somebody of a gender or a race to represent everybody else of that gender and of that race. That is called racism. So everybody out there at MSESPN who immediately started arguing, I swear to God they did this, that Baker Mayfield had white dick-grabbing privilege. Somebody this morning tweeted me and said, oh, if a black guy did this, he wouldn't win the Heisman. Motherfucker. Jameis Winston won the Heisman while under investigation for raping a white chick. Cam Newton won the Heisman while under investigation for being paid to play for Auburn. Both of those are more significant than Baker Mayfield grabbing his dick while playing the worst team in the Big 12. Good Lord. This just drives me insane because I think what analogies like that do. I think when sports media tries to come out and argue that situations like this are being treated differently because of race, what they do instead of uniting us is they divide us. And so much of what I do, people say, oh, Clay, some of my critics say, oh, Clay Travis is a race baiter. You go look at what I do, I am satirizing the stupidity of race baiters on a regular basis. I don't ever punch first. I'm punching back against absurd storylines because I know they're coming and because I want to delegitimize them before they even arise. That's what I do. I have a crazy idea. I judge people based on their own personality and based on their own actions as opposed to the actions of the color of their skin or as opposed to the actions of their gender. I know it's wild. I know it's crazy. I know it's insane that I actually look at facts before I look at gender, that I actually look at facts before I look at race. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott did it because I don't believe that he did anything wrong based on reading the facts. Do I believe that Jameis Winston likely did it in this Uber car? Yeah. Why? Because I think Jameis Winston has a history of making a series of stupid decisions, And in particular, he had already narrowly avoided prosecution for rape. I just think it's insane. All right, remember, 20% off all Outkick gear as well as VIP membership. If you go to Outkick, put in the code BOOBS. I appreciate all of you. That's BOOBS. Happy early Thanksgiving. I got a flight to hit. I will see you guys tomorrow on the radio show, and then I'm out for the rest of the week. As stories break, I will come in and spend time hanging out with you guys. Fingers crossed on the Grudinator. I can't wait to see what happens with Chip Kelly either. It's the best time of the year if you love drama in college football. Not only the college football playoff, but also the college football coaching carousel. Love all of you. Thank you for spending your early time today here with me. I'm Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Share it with your friends. Hopefully you got Mizzou and Santa Clay came to town for you and yours. See y'all.